Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. First strike has been done. Nobody believed you, but you were right all along. Not only has that turned out to be true, but that's what the theme of this video is about. All these years, you were called crazy, you were called stupid, you were called insane, you were told that you didn't know what you were talking about, you were told that you were lying, that you were making stuff up, and all of a sudden, everything is being revealed. Justice is here. Finally, people are seeing the truth. For how many years? I mean, it's probably been decades at this point that child actors have came out and they have spoke out vehemently about this. They have yelled, they have screamed, they have made video after video, and what happened? Everyone said, oh, they're weird, they're on drugs, oh, they're crazy, oh, they're insane, oh, they're whatever. And now, how many of them are dead? And usually by, overdose. What an easy way to kill someone and make it look like they killed themselves. Here's the worst part. Nobody gave them any understanding at all. The fun thing about it is everyone saw the truth. For example, some of these kids aren't here anymore. They died. So they come out, they speak about pedophilia, child abuse, and next thing you know, a few of them die. One dies this year, one dies the next year, another one comes out, they die. And we're all supposed to believe that child actors coming out talking about the same exact subject just happened to have died. And I don't just mean like in a Hollywood circuit, but even when you talk to your friends about, say, yeah, you can tell that guy's telling, oh, you don't know that, oh, he's just making, oh, he just wants attention, oh, it's just like you look at this person like, really, man? We lived, past tense, we lived in a society that just didn't want to talk about the truth. Justice is finally here. This whole thing that's blown up in Hollywood right now, this literally is God's first strike. This is like a nuclear strike to the heart of the beast. And Hollywood is a beast. Tip of the spear is the first strike. 101st Airborne, that was one of our callings, was we were the tip of the spear. We were the first strike, first ones in. At Fort Benning, we wore a patch that said, follow me. What we're seeing, what's happening with pdiddy and all the Hollywood actors and everyone, this is just the first strike. This is just the beginning. But I want to bring it down to you and to your level. I know, because I've done it, you've prayed for justice, and I bet you've prayed for justice more in the last 3 to 5 years than you've ever prayed for it in your entire life. You know, there was a senator recently, or maybe it was a congressman. It's on YouTube, and I mean, I just saw this maybe 2 days ago. And I posted on my Facebook page. He essentially said, he was in Congress saying, Congress has had to pay $17 million for not sexual abuse, but sexual harassment cases. I mean, how many people are in Congress? It's not that many people. So he calls them out, says that Congress has spent $17 million to get these people out of trouble for sexual harassment cases. And then he says, by a raise of hands, who here has had Congress spend money on you to get you out of sexual harassment problems? I guess all I'm saying is the window, the door, whatever you want to call it, it has finally been opened, and this is pouring through a lot. And this is literally, like, this is just the very, very beginning. Okay, so what is Narcissist 101? What do they do to you when you call them on it, when you speak out about it? They belittle you. They make you look crazy. They convince people, oh, they're just mad. They're just upset. Oh, they're weird. There's something wrong with them. They're crazy. And that's exactly what they do. I bet it's been done to you. I bet they've told your friends, that your family, people that have done you wrong have told your friends, your associate, your classmates, oh, they're crazy, they're this, and they humiliate you in front of people. And that's exactly what happened to these two guys on the left, Kanye West and Kat. He's a comedian, the second guy. Sorry about that. Kanye West came out a long time ago, and he was talking the truth, telling everybody what had happened, what they've done to him. And it turns out everything that he has said, especially about P. Diddy and the industry, is 100% correct. Now let's look at Cat Williams. Same thing. So what do? They didn't even not only said that, but they tried to destroy their careers. In fact, Kanye West, I forget what they did to him, but he lost I think it was like $100 million or more than that. He lost a ton of money. They cut him out on every way they could. They tried to stop him. The same thing with Cat Williams. Basically, they made him look crazy. They made him look like he was a nut job, and so he didn't work for a long time. They even offered, Cat Williams talks about how they've offered him $50 million. He's like, no, because I'm not going to take it. All of a sudden, everyone is looking at Cat Williams and like he's a genius. So they're like, how did you know? He goes, I was there. I saw it. I told you. So you go from being ostracized to suddenly everybody wants to know. Do you guys remember this face? Isaac Cappy? I think this was about 4 years ago when this guy really, really blew up. He just made some home videos calling out everybody on what they did, what they've done. All these famous Hollywood actors and actresses. And people didn't believe him because, oh, he's crazy. He's acting weird. This isn't normal. You know what it was? It's because what narcissists do is really, really hard to believe for the average person, because the average person doesn't go through it. So when you're telling them, hey, these people are gang stalking me, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're looking at you like, what? Why would they do that? That sounds weird. I had a friend say, oh, they must be on cocaine. And then just drop it like nothing happened. My thought is, well, so what if they're on cocaine? Even if they were on cocaine, they're doing some really dangerous things to me. It's like, yeah, whatever. You know, it's funny, something I pointed out in the last video. The very things they did to you, the very things that they used on you, the very things they used to keep you quiet are the very things now that you can use against them. So they humiliate you, they abuse you, and then they go out and tell people, and then people laugh at you, and then you quieted down from shame. And then they threatened you, if you don't keep your mouth shut, we're going to use all of this and tell everyone what we did to you. And I'm sitting here going, good, now we got a record of it. We have a lot of people that you've spoken to out loud in public, out in front of other people, and now we can go get those people and we can turn this around against you legally. Even the video recording, it's like, yeah, do you realize that you literally just made some physical, actual proof that can be used in a court of law against you? Do you realize that? See, this is what's happening. People are waking up going, oh, wait a minute, this can be used against me in a court of law. Yeah, dumbass. Whereas before, they were using it as a threat to you, saying, hey, if you say anything, we're going to do this. We're going to show people these images. We're going to show people these videos. Please do. That'll be excellent. So you abused someone, you manipulated them, you tricked them, you recorded them without them knowing, against their will, and now you want to show it publicly? Oh, please, the more the merrier. Do you see how far we've come? It was like literally just 5 years ago, and then all the way back into the 90s, 80s, 70s, whatever. Like, nobody, it's like, it's so weird. It's like, on the one hand, this stuff could stand up in a court of law against these people, but we were too afraid to say, hey, please bring it to court. Please give it to my lawyer. Thank you very much. It's literally like a light bulb went on. It's like, oh, wait a minute. This isn't evidence against me. This is evidence for me. Here's another actor. This is Corey Feldman. He came out probably 20 years ago, just really pushing it and screaming and yelling and saying, hey, this is what's going on. And everyone looked at him like, you're just weird. And you know what? Let's talk about the weird part. When you get abused for that long when you're a little child, guess what? You grow up a little weird. You grow up a little different. You're psychologically messed up, you're insecure, you're nervous, you're not confident, etc., etc. So you may not come across it. Whereas someone who's trained in this stuff, they'll say, yeah, that's very typical, certain types of abuse. Like right now, I can spot someone within minutes who's been through narcissist abuse. After watching them talk and listening and just looking at the way they are, like, oh, this person's been through narcissist abuse. So people that are cold, uncaring, being, oh, they're weird, like, if you have a friend that's like that and you're like, well, this person's been really fucked with, like, in a really demonic bad way, and they're like, oh, they're just being weird, you need to cut that person out of your life, because I promise you, they're not going to do you any good at all, and they're probably going to do something bad. So here's another child actor who came out, who spoke out loudly, and he's dead also. By the way, Isaac Cappy, one of the first ones I showed, the way he died was, they said he jumped off of, I think it was a bridge, he jumped off a high height bridge and he died. So that's another questionable death. Like, are you sure he jumped or did they throw him? Because during his videos he said, I am not suicidal, I have no intention of killing myself. He said, I'm saying this because I know that's the only protection I have, because they're going to come after me, they're going to eventually kill me. And they did, and they didn't wait very long. And then people are like, oh, well, they were on drugs, and you know what that does to you. Yeah, I'm sure they were on drugs because of the abuse. They were looking for an escape to get away from it, because nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody wanted to listen to them. Nobody took them serious. Nobody was even understanding. Nobody lent a shoulder. They were all on their own, knowing that all this happened, yet nobody wants to talk about it. Yet they're around the very same people that did it. Here's how stupid some people are. There was a guy that posted a video about how Puff Diddy had beaten, read what it says. Beaten, dragged, and kicked his then girlfriend Cassie Ventura in 2016. And the whole video was about a 2-3 minute video. The whole video was about, well, why didn't she just leave? She was with him for 11 years. What was it? Was it all the money? Was it all the fame? She just couldn't let go of that. The guy was being a cocky, arrogant dick. Now here's the worst part about it. He has seen the videos. He's been watching what's been going on with everything that P. Diddy, Puff Daddy had done, Sean Combs, whatever you call him. All the abuse, how he took all these videos of people and how he was going to use it against them to extort them, to blackmail them, and all this stuff. It's like, well, so you're listening to all this stuff. And this image, by the way, I got from his video that said, a disturbing surveillance video from a Los Angeles hotel hallway shows Sean Diddy Combs beating, dragging, and kicking his then girlfriend Cassie Ventura in 2016. And I'm like, what are you, stupid? Beating, dragging, kicking. You still don't have a clue why she didn't leave? And by the way, if you haven't seen this video, it is on YouTube and you can look it up now. She was running away from him. She was trying to escape, and when he jumped in the shower, she grabbed her bags and she went down the hallway. He came down the hallway in a towel. Yeah, this is him here. He literally yanked on, he threw her to the ground, literally. She was waiting for the elevator to open up. He grabs her, slams her on the freaking ground, grabs her, one or two of the bags that dropped, and he grabbed her by the hoodie or by the back of the shirt or the hair, and he literally yanks her down the hallway and then around the corner. And this idiot says, I don't understand why she didn't leave. She couldn't. Fact is, she was trying to. She physically was on her way out. She was sneaking out. He physically grabbed her, slammed her on the ground. It looked like he knocked her out, or at least made her dizzy, because she was not moving. And then he kicks her 2 or 3 times, and then he grabs her and then starts dragging her down the hall. It's like, so you watch the video, you make a video about the video, and you can't figure it out? Here she is, a beautiful, feminine, petite, young woman, much, much younger than him. She was not some big powerhouse. P. Diddy was known to be very strong. The guy lifted weights, he worked out, he was a much, much bigger being, period. So he asked the question at the end, well, why do you think she didn't leave? Well, here was my answer. I'm going to read it off. It's called narcissist abuse. It's what P. Diddy did is pure 100% narcissist abuse. These are narcissistic tactics. You need to study it. It's demonic. They play mind games. They threaten you. They gaslight you, which confuses the hell out of you. They take away any self-confidence or self-esteem that you have. Gaslighting confuses you and causes you to doubt yourself in a really big way. It causes you to doubt yourself so much that you rely on them to make decisions for you. They also threaten to ruin your life, your career. They turn people against you, and they do this thing called gang stalking. It's terrifying. It will make you lose your mind. They'll get all kinds of people to attack you, to destroy your property, to make friends with people that you know, and then turn those people against you, and you have no idea any of this is going on behind the scenes. You don't even know who these people are. They will watch to see where you're going, go to shops and stores, then they will go in, make friends over time with the workers. They will gain rapport with them. Then they will turn them against you. They will say bad things about you. They'll make stuff up about you. They will make you sound like you were the worst monster in the world. And they will do this everywhere you go over time. All you know is for some reason people that you've known for months or even years and years suddenly don't like you, who used to be nice to you. Okay. Now, there's a lot more to this, but I think you're getting the gist of it. They send people to mess with you. They mess with your car, your home, your job, everything. And you never know who it is, and you don't know why they're doing it. All you know is suddenly your car's broken into, your car's got a flat tire again, and then this happens, and then that happens. And it's never just one person. It's not like they just send one person. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is going on behind your backs for weeks, months, even years and years and years. They break into your car, your home. They put stuff in your food. They break into your home. They do all kinds of stuff. It literally is terrifying. And nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to understand. So you're stuck there in your own world having all this happen. And people are like, well, why would they do that? Because this never happened to them. And I will admit, if it hasn't happened to you, you can't understand it. Now, I say something to be kind of a smartass because he made a video about the video of him kicking, beating her, slamming her on the ground. And he's talking about, well, why didn't she just leave? It's like, well, did you not watch the video that you watched? So you're not making the connection? But believe it or not, but some people can't make the connection. That's how dumb they are. Until they physically been slammed on their head on the ground, until they've been kicked 3 times and then dragged down the hallway by a much bigger person, they can't understand it. And believe it or not, but that's why some people don't understand other people's plights. I mean, does she look like a monster? Does she look like this huge gorilla that's going to outdo Puff Diddy? I don't know how big I don't know if he's like 6 foot tall or 5'10 or 5'11, 200 pounds, but he's a much bigger guy. All right, let me continue. So then I go on. It says, have you not read or heard how Diddy secretly taped all these people? Why do you think he did that? To shame them, to humiliate them, to keep them quiet, to control them. That's what they do. They don't tell you. They do all this stuff behind your back. They set you up, then they record it, and you don't even know what's going on. They drug you. They use date rape drugs to convince you to do things you have never done before and record it without you even knowing. Seriously, keep up. If you're going to make a video on the subject, at least learn about the things P. Diddy did and has been doing for at least 2 decades now. It's all about holding something over you, holding something against you, so they can literally later publicly shame you and humiliate you and make you look bad. And they set you up all the while acting like they are your best friend. And that's the biggest mind fuck of all. You think this is your best friend, so you lower your guard and they trust you. They use a lot of actual psychological tricks to convince your brain that you are their best friend, almost like God sent them. All right, let me continue here. So you can't leave. It's not that easy. You don't understand. The fact that at least you're admitting that you don't understand is exactly why this is so powerful. Nobody understands. They think it's simple. Just leave. Just walk away. They brainwash you over time, and you don't even know what's going on. It's a massive mind fuck. They are very, very controlling. They will drug you. They poison you. It's not like they just did it one time. They put sleeping pills in your food. They put ketamine to where it mellows you out. And one of the things when I Googled it last night, it causes you not only to be calm and relaxed, but it causes you to not fight back. I'm going to Google it again. All right, cool. I found the same article. Ketamine. What is ketamine? And this is by the Department of Justice, DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, drug fact sheet. Ketamine. What is ketamine? Ketamine is a dissociative. That means it dissociates you. It disconnects you from yourself. Ketamine is a dissociative anesthetic that has some hallucinogenic effects. It distorts perceptions of sight and sound and makes the user feel disconnected and not in control. One of the biggest things that narcissists do is they want to do everything they can to brainwash you to make you feel insecure on a level you can't even imagine. These people have studied these techniques since they were really, really young. Their whole thing is about manipulation and controlling people. Now they're using drugs that make you feel like you're completely disconnected, dissociated, you don't know who you are, you don't know where you're going, and it causes you to rely on them. That's why they do it. Now, it isn't injectable, but you can also put it in people's drinks. And it's not like they do it just one time. Okay, let's continue on here. It is referred to as a dissociative anesthetic because it makes patients feel detached from their pain and environment. So a couple of things it says. Ketamine can induce a state of sedation, feeling calm and relaxed, immobility. In other words, you can't move or very, very little mobility. Relief from pain and amnesia. No memory of events while under the influence of drugs. It is abused for its ability to produce dissociative sensation and hallucinations. Ketamine also can be used to facilitate sexual assault. So it causes you to forget. Another thing it causes you to do when you're so relaxed, you're not resistant. You just go right along with whatever they want. So here's another woman. This lady is ketamine, not ketamine, but Puff P. Diddy's ex-wife. This is Puffy's wife, Kim Porter. She died suspiciously. A judge has now ordered for her body to be exhumed so they can do another investigation to find out what really happened and how she died. Alright, let's continue. Almost done. So they have connections everywhere. Narcissists help out narcissists. Narcissists recognize narcissists and they work together. A lot of times they pay people to harass and gang stalk you. They don't do it early in a relationship. Because this guy's like, well, and he even said, when you get abused early on in a relationship, why don't you just leave? Because they don't do it early in the relationship. That's the whole point. It's a big game. They do something called love bombing. Alright. Sorry, I lost my place here. So they don't do it early in a relationship. Early in a relationship, they do something that's called love bombing. They love you to death. They treat you well, very well. In fact, they buy you gifts. They take you out to dinner. They introduce you to their other friends like you are a god or a goddess, like you're the greatest thing on the planet. And they do this for months and months and months. It's a long, slow, drawn-out process until they have you mentally wrapped. Then the abuse comes. Then the discard comes. Then the devaluation comes. It's a sorry, I lost my place. Then the abuse comes. First, a ton of psychological abuse. Then it can turn into physical abuse. By that time, you are so mentally messed up, you can't even think for yourself, literally. And on top of that, the reason why they do love bombing and then they pull it back is because they want you to chase that. They want you to get that back. They're like, well, if we could just get back to the way the relationship was for the first 3, 4, or 5 months, it was wonderful, it was beautiful. Let's go back to that. And that's when they do the breadcrumbing. They give you a little bit of love to remind you of it. Yep, it's still there. And then they take that away. And they breadcrumb you a little bit more. And they give you once a week, maybe once every other week, something like just enough to keep you on the leash. It is a huge psychological game. The whole idea is to trap you psychologically. I've heard people who have been married to narcissists for 10, 20, 30, even 40, sometimes even 50 years, and they could never get out. It's a psychological game. They destroy you. There was an interview about this lady who talked about Justin Bieber, and one thing she says, like, they destroy you on the inside. Like it's like you don't exist anymore. They used a ton of shame and humiliation tactics, and that's a huge part of it. Justin Bieber went through this as well. Notice how he was this super happy kid, full of life and light. Then suddenly, he just went dark. And it wasn't a slow thing he got old. No, it was like, boom. We're talking about within weeks to months. He just become this sullen kid. There was the darkness. He was sad. He didn't have the happiness. He didn't have the lightness. He didn't have the joy that he always had. It was suddenly gone, as if someone turned his light out. It's not as easy as you think. So let's see. So he just went dark and he got sad. He's very depressed. He's never been the same since. So it doesn't just happen to women. It also happens to men. So there's your answer, sir. Learn about what's really going on. Educate yourself on narcissist abuse. So here's the facts. That guy that made that video, it's like on the one hand, he's talking about a video where P. Diddy literally knocks the crap out of this woman, this young, petite, feminine, much smaller lady. And he's like, I don't understand why she doesn't just leave. People like that, they're not trying to understand. They don't care. That guy, he's probably a narcissist. This is just another narcissist trying to throw it out there in the world. We got to keep people asleep. We got to keep people asleep. Put out their lights. Hey, Puff Diddy didn't do anything wrong, even though there's a video of him slamming this young lady on the ground while she's literally trying to escape. I mean, I don't understand why she didn't leave. I mean, I don't see what the problem is, right? I guarantee you that guy's a narcissist who's trying to turn your light out. Guarantee it. Anyone who speaks up for narcissist abuse, defends narcissist abuse, acts stupid like, why didn't she just leave? While he's showing a video of him grabbing her, lifting her, slamming her on the ground, kicking her, and then dragging her back to the room. You don't understand? Really? Oh, you just might be a narcissist. Guess what, buddy? We're not falling for the bullshit anymore. People's eyes are open. We're seeing what's going on. And we're not falling for the reverse blame game. Oh, it's her. She should have just, was it for the money? That's called reverse blame, reverse shame. No, buddy. Watch the video again closely. This is why I tell people, see things for the way they are. See it for what it is. Do not change it. Do not color code it. Do not make excuses for it. Because that's how they got away with it. And do not let other people make excuses for this vile abuse. So you've been waiting for justice. Justice is here. It is happening. It is opening. It is pouring through the universe. It is being revealed. One of the things I told you guys in the past was how my mother, when I was 6.5 years old, 6 3/4 years old, she burned my hand on the stove on high. I remember looking up at her and she just gave me this, man, it wasn't a smirk, but it was just like an FU look, and I begged her for help and she just looked at me with it was this snotty look, and she just walked out of the room. I went full panic. I did not know what to do. My mind literally was going a million miles an hour. First thing I did, I saw the refrigerator, I went to the freezer, I put my hand in the ice. Well, guess what ice does to hot hands that are that hot? It melted into my hand and got stuck, and then I looked at it and I tried to shake it off. I peeled the ice off and it peeled the skin off of my fingers. I was in so much pain. I was seeing my skin getting peeled off my hand and my fingers. I freaked out, I panicked, and I literally passed out. Now here's what happened. Everyone knew about it in the neighborhood. They bragged about it. My brothers and sisters literally told people, and they came over to see me. And that's how I woke up in the middle of the kitchen on the floor, and these kids are looking at my hand, and they started laughing at me. So they didn't hide it. They used it to humiliate me. They used it to shame me. And it was like, what they do to you is they make it sound like, it's no, and then what they do is they turn it into, it's not a big deal. It happened to him. Now here's the other thing about it. It wasn't like, and then they took you to the hospital, right? No. I got no medical attention. I had to figure out by myself at the age of 6 3/4 years old on how to take care of this thing. I put toilet paper on it when it started to get all pussy and infected. And that just stuck to it, and that just made it worse. It got more infected. I went across the street to two of the girls were our age, my age, and one was my brother's age. And I went to her mother, and I was crying, begging her for help, and she just said, "Get out of here." When I went to school, the teachers just looked at me like they were pissed off at me. Like, well, you did, and some of them said, well, you must have deserved it. What 6.5-year-old fucking kid deserves to get their fucking hand burnt on the stove? Now, before this, I didn't know what narcissist abuse was. I didn't get it. The first tactic is make it a joke of the town, make it a big joke, ha ha ha. And it's called like, what do they call it? Hiding it, not hiding in public, but hiding out in the open. Like, in other words, you're not hiding it, you're changing the meaning of it. Oh, it's a big joke. Yeah, it happened to him. Screw him. It's the same thing they did with these child actors, Corey Feldman, Corey Haim, and all these kids that came out and talked about it. They shamed them. They humiliated. Oh, you guys are weird. They devalued them. They made us like, who cares about them? And I bet that's exactly how a lot of you looked at they're just weird. Oh, they're just saying weird stuff. Now, when I got older, much, much older, when I learned about narcissist abuse and how over a period of time they gain rapport with people in the neighborhood, the schools, the teachers, your friends, etc., etc. And then what they do is they, without telling you, they convince all these people that you're this horrible monster. So the whole time they're getting fed with stuff like, oh, well, he this and he that, and they make all this stuff up. So then when you go to another parent, when you go up to a teacher crying because your hand's freaking burnt and infected and swollen up over a period of time, they look at you like, oh, you deserved it. You're a bad kid. And that's one of the things I couldn't figure out for years and years. Like, why did all these teachers and parents treat me like I was this bad person? Like I wasn't worthy of being alive. Well, it's because, okay, here, watch this. One of my sisters had told me, now this is many years later. I think I was probably, oh God, I don't know if I was 34 or if I was 41, but it was many years later. She just goes, well, it's because of what Mom said about you. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, Michael, all those people think you're like the worst person in the world. I'm like, why? I was a straight A student, never got in trouble. I didn't drink like you guys did, didn't do drugs, didn't do this, didn't do that. I was on school on time. I got good grades. I was really good in sports. Like, why would they think I was bad? See, in my mind, I'm thinking they all think I'm a great kid. She's like, oh no, not after what Mom did. When I was a bit older, I think I was 19 or maybe 20, she convinced me to move back in. Well, over a period of time, like, all the neighbors were terrified of me, and I couldn't figure out why. And after about 6 months, it was really obvious one day. I was like, oh shit. So I went back into my sister. Why does everyone suddenly turn and walk away like they're terrified? She goes, well, Mom's been telling everyone in the neighborhood that you're a murderer. I'm like, what are you talking about? She told everyone you've been in prison 2 separate times for 2 separate murders. I'm like, what? And I looked at it, I go, how is that even possible? What, I murdered someone at the age of 4 years old, and then I got out when I was 13, and then 2 days later I got murdered again, and then I went back in prison, and I just got out 6 months ago? I mean, I think at the time I was like, Amber, I'm only 20 years old. I mean, mathematically you would think they would figure it out, but most people don't even think. They just like, oh, someone said something bad. Must be true. So remember how I told you earlier on, like how, like now they used to use it to keep you down, to keep you quiet, to control you, to, do what they say, etc., etc. Now it's being not twisted, but now it's being revealed. Like, wait a minute, you can use this, all of this against them. There's a lot of people that they told. Not just when it happened, but many decades and decades later, they were telling, oh yeah, my mom burned Michael's hand when he was 6 years old. Oh. And I was horrified, not horrified as in I was embarrassed, but the people that they're talking to were like, what? One of the faults or defaults of a narcissist is they can't read body language. They couldn't look at these people's faces and go, oh, they don't like this. They think this is bad. They just kept talking and talking like it was just the talk of the town. And they did this everywhere we lived. All those people know what you guys did. I had a friend, this is when I was 6 3/4 years old. Okay, but I knew him for about 6, I think it was 4, 5, 6 years after that. I forget how long we lived there. So he calls me up. I was about, I think, 41 or something like that. And he's just laughing. Remember that time when your mom burned your hand on stuff? Oh, we laugh about it to this day when we have parties and friends over. I always bring that up and blah, blah. I'm like, what? Here's the deal. That's even more people that know about it. This actually makes me feel good. Seriously, I want them to know. They've revealed their cards, and their cards make them look guilty. So I'm like, dude, why is this funny? I go, you're a grown man. Now he's a little bit older than me. I think he's like 4 or 5 years older than me. So he was probably 46 or something at the time, and he had 2 children the exact same age as when I got my hand burned on the stove. Now, he called me up after my accident, and he did it just to shove it in my face to hurt me. Now, I hadn't seen this guy in, God, probably 20 years. Or heard from him. And he's just gloating and laughing. And why is this? And again, I'm purposely bringing it up to his face. I'm shoving it in his face so he could really see what he's doing. I go, why is this so funny? You're a grown man. He goes, well, it was a long time ago. He goes, what's the big deal? And he goes, you're an adult now. And I said, it happened to me when I was 6 years old. I wasn't an adult when it happened. And he still couldn't understand. And I said, well, you know what? You've got me convinced. He goes, what do you mean? I go, it's hilarious. He goes, what? I go, you've got 2 children the same age that I was. I go, why don't you fly me out to Minnesota and I'll come on over. I'll live in the home, and first thing in the morning we could wake your children up and burn their hand on the stove. He goes, wait, what'd you say? That's not funny. Those are my kids. I'm like, I know, it'll be hilarious. We'll be able to laugh about it for the next 40 years till we're 90 years old. And he got really pissed. I'm like, wait a minute, but you convinced me this was fun, this was good, this was hilarious, right? He's like, dude, that's not funny. I go, yeah, I know. That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. It's not fucking funny at all. Believe it or not, but that's what that's what it took for him to finally go, oh shit, that was messed up. Yeah, buddy, that was messed up. I had a therapist. This was really what got me to clear this. She said, Michael, what would it take for you to burn a child's hand on the stove? I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, what would a child have to do in order for you to realize, okay, it's okay to burn this child's hand on the stove? And I thought about it for like 5 seconds. I'm like, there's not a damn thing a kid, even if a kid murdered someone, I wouldn't burn his hand on the stove. That's insane. And she goes, exactly. So what they used to do to humiliate me empowers me, because all of a sudden the world is starting to see this. Now, when this guy called me, this was like, I think it was about 10 years ago approximately when this went down, maybe a little bit more actually. People still couldn't see it. They do now. I'm telling you, people's eyes are opening up. They're starting to realize the things that were done to you are wrong. They see it now. And if they don't see it now, they're gonna. People are opening up. People are starting to see the light. They're starting to see the reality of this shit that you were put through. Trust me, this video is not about me. I'm using me to get you to realize you are being put in the same light. People are starting to see the truth about what happened to you, how you were treated when you were a little kid or when you were in a relationship, and on and on. People are starting to go, oh shit. And a lot of them, they're starting to feel really, really bad about how they didn't defend you, how they didn't stand up, how they laughed at you, how they pushed you down when you were already down. Some of these people, I'm like, man, I can't believe I did that. Now, I don't mean the narcissist. I mean the people that were around, neighbors, school friends, etc., etc. It's like the majority of people couldn't see how wrong this stuff was. People are just now starting to see it. In one way or another, your justice is coming. It is here. Please do not think that I feel sorry for myself. Don't be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't care. It's over. I've done a lot of healing, and it has empowered the shit out of me. And that is my purpose of this video. You need to realize people are starting to go, oh, wait a minute. This isn't being used against you. This is now evidence for you against them. I'll give you another quick story. My mom used to beat us boys so severely we would bleed. I mean, she would put a whooping on us like you would not believe. And this is like Hollywood stuff. Like, this is stuff that you're like, oh, that's just in the movies. Like, no, I lived that. For me, this went on literally for over a decade. So the longest I've ever bled after a beating was about 2, maybe 3 days. Now, I have an older sibling that used to brag about this. Now, my brother Charlie, he got beat so bad, I think he bled for 3 or it was 4 days. He bled the longest. I remember she was an adult. I think it was in her 30s. And she was telling these people at her work, at my mom's work, and bragging how my mom beat him so severely, he bled for so many days, he would have to bring 2 extra t-shirts and 2 extra underwear to change them in between classes so the teachers wouldn't find out. so it wouldn't bleed through and soak through into his pants, and so they couldn't see it. And this was told to a lot of people, literally I can say for about 30 years. There's a lot more, but I think you guys get the gist of it. I don't look at it like I used to. I remember when she was telling these people at their work, because I was there when she was saying it, and I was still kind of getting humiliated, even though it wasn't about me, because I was kind of afraid it was going to turn around to me. But at the same time, when I saw the people's reactions, they were horrified. They were like, oh my, and they were really quiet. She's like, isn't that funny? And I remember just looking at her like, they don't think it's funny at all. And now people are seeing the reality of it. Some of these people that when we were kids, they were basically brainwashed by my mom. Like, yeah, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? And they all laughed at me when I was on the floor. Now they're going, wait a minute. That wasn't cool at all. That was a 6-year-old child that was getting abused. Do not be surprised if people from your far, far past call you out of the blue and apologize for laughing at you, for not understanding, for not being there for you. So stand strong, have faith, the light is turning. You know, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actually really happy about what's been going on the last couple of weeks. It's a horrible thing, but it's finally being revealed, and justice is happening. If you like this video, please click subscribe, click the like button, make a comment, and if you want, you can go ahead and make a donation. There's a PayPal link right there in the description box. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.